The Yevanim, the Medrash says in Bereshit Rabbah, decreed that the Jews must write, engrave on their bulls' horns, En lachem chelek be'elokei Yisrael. You don't have a share in the God of Israel. What does that mean? Why specifically there? And what does that mean? You don't have a share in the God of Israel. So Yefet Torah on the Medrash and Bereshit Rabbah explains they wanted them to write on their assets, on what's important to them. This is the Mercedes of the time. You have a bull. You write it on your car. You walk around. You drive around. Everybody should know. I advertise. I don't have a share. Chalila, with the God of Israel. But the Yefet Torah says this is also in order to remind Hashem and to remind Klal Yisrael of the sin of the golden calf. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu as if distanced himself and said, I don't have a share with you anymore. That's why they did it. But the Sfas Emes writes something. Gewaldig. What is this formulation? En lachem chelek be'elokei Yisrael. And Bichlal, it seems to contradict itself. The same sentence itself contradicts itself. They say, right, you don't have a chelek, you don't have a share with a God, but they say he's the God of Israel. So they do admit he exists. He is the God of Israel. So what is it? What were they trying to do? Before we explain, we tell a story. The sefer called Shevet Yehuda. And in Shevet Yehuda it says that the Romans sent a goy to Beis HaMikdash to find out what goes on in that place of the Jews. And the goy came, and they took him around, and he was so impressed. He saw all the unbelievable miracles that took place in Beis HaMikdash, and he was in awe. He just couldn't believe it. And then he got to one of the chambers in Beis HaMikdash, and he says, what's this? A lot of pieces of wood there. We call it Lishkas HaEtzim, the wood chamber. He says, what is this? So they tell him, we gather wood here, and we put it on the Mizbeach to bring the Korbanos. And the goy started getting upset, and he says, so you guys are liars! So why are we liars? Because you claim that fire comes down from Shemaim to consume the Korbanos. If fire comes down from Shemaim, why do you guys put on wood? That means you put the wood, you put the fire, and not HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the Jews said, no. Fire does come from Shemaim, but we have a mitzvah to take part of it. We have a mitzvah to put fire, and with that we become partners with the HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the goy was so upset. He says, that's Jewish talk. He wrote a letter back to the Roman Caesar saying, if you give me permission, I will kill them all. What got the goy so upset? He saw all the miracles, didn't bother him. He was impressed. But when he saw that the Jews claim that we become partners with the Kodesh Baruch Hu, it drove him mad. Why? Lichoira, seemingly, the goy is right. Anyone who studied a little about creation, knows that this world is so vast. The galaxies, what's around it, it's just unbelievable. Imagine, you see a guy in the street, he takes a stone, and he places it in a very high place, and you say to him, what are you doing? He says, no, this is a star. I'm becoming partners with the Kodesh Baruch Hu in creation of the world. Only two options. This the guy is, totally, he's a shoyte gamuios, this guy is not normal. Or, he doesn't understand a word of what he's saying. He doesn't know what a star is, let alone the whole galaxies and everything around. He doesn't know what it is. But when you see a person who's sane, who says, this is a star, and I'm becoming a partner with the Kodesh Baruch Hu, that chutzpah to say such a stupid thing just makes you upset. And that's why the goy couldn't take it. He couldn't accept it. It's like you have a train, 20 cars, full of thousands and thousands of tons of merchandise. And a fly comes and stands all the way in the back of the last cart, and he does like this with his wings. So what are you doing? Oh, I'm helping to push the train. What are you doing? You're helping to push the train? How foolish is that? You think you can become partners with the Kodesh Baruch Hu? Do you understand what Kodesh Baruch Hu is? He is so high above everyone else. How can it be that a Kodesh Baruch Hu, that the heavens and the heavens of heavens, as the Pasuk says, can't contain him? He will become partners with you. You know what it's like? You will become partner with an ant. And therefore the goy just couldn't accept it. But this is the belief of Klal Yisrael, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu with His mercy asks us to do certain things, and with that He makes us partners with Him. And there are three mitzvahs like that. Bris Milah. It's a covenant between me and you, and when you do that, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says you become partners with me, and it's like HaKadosh Baruch Hu is making a covenant with an ant. But that's because HaKadosh Baruch Hu says you are chashuv. In my eyes, I'm elevating you and you become partners with me. Shabbos is the same. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says about Shabbos, Oisi b'ni u'v'neichem, oisi le'olam. It's a sign between me and you. We become partners. So much so, Shabbos Kuf Yutes Amud Beis, the Gemara says, Friday night, tonight, in Shul, when you're going to say, Vayechulu Hashamayim, you become partners with HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Maaseh Bereshis. And more than these two, is the mitzvah of sanctifying the new month. Do you know what happens upstairs? The Malachim go to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and they say, no, when is Rosh Hashanah? When is going to be judgment date for the entire universe? HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I don't know, we have to wait. Waiting for what, HaKadosh Baruch Hu? We're waiting for Klal Yisrael to sanctify the new month down there, and only then I work based on their calendar. So our mitzvahs have so much power and strength that we dictate when the entire world will be judged. We mamish our partners with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's something that the Greeks, based on the story with the Romans, couldn't accept and couldn't digest. It got them so upset. When you see a Chacham in Klal Yisrael, you have to say a bracha. What's the bracha? Baruch Ata Hashem, Shechalak mechochmasoi leyereav, that gave from his wisdom to those who fear him. When you see a king of Klal Yisrael, what do you say? Shechalak mikevoido, he gave from his honor, from his glory to a human. When you see a goy who's a sage, they're sages, a very chacham, very wise goy, what do you say? You also say a bracha. But you don't use this formulation of shechalak michochmaso. You say shenasan. Shenatan michochmaso, he gives and the individual, the human, receives. But by us, the Yid becomes a part of the heavenly wisdom. Shechalak, you become a chelik, you have a share in HaKadosh Baruch Hu's wisdom as well. In this mitzvahs, the Greeks couldn't stand. You want to fulfill mitzvahs? Fine, fulfill mitzvahs. But don't say you have a share with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because you apparently don't understand what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is. That's what the Greeks said. And therefore they said, right, you don't have a share in the God of Israel. We don't care. You want to fulfill mitzvahs? Fulfill mitzvahs. But don't say that HaKadosh Baruch Hu belongs to you and you have a share with him. Because they use the pasuk we just said before in Halil. They use the pasuk says, Ram al kol goyim Hashem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is above all the nations. You guys are included. In other words, al hashamayim kevoido. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is even above the shamayim. What do you say that you have a part of him? What do Klal Yisrael respond? The following pasuk. We say, HaMagbihi LaShabbos. You think you know what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is? You don't even know how high he is. HaMagbihi LaShabbos, he is higher even than heaven and earth. And yet, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaMashpili Lirois Bashamayim Uvaretz, he is willing to lower himself, to deign himself, to go down, even though it's beneath his honor, he goes down to check out what's going on in the Shamayim and in the Aretz. There's a pasuk in Melachim Aleph Perek Chaf pasuk Kaf Zayin. The pasuk says, "But will God indeed dwell on the earth? Behold, the heaven and the heaven of heavens cannot continue, much less this temple that I have created." And yet, HaKadosh Baruch Hu looks down, and we just said a pasuk earlier, "Mekimi me'afar dal u'me'ashpois yarim evin." HaKadosh Baruch Hu is even willing to go to the garbage, me'ashpois, to take out and help the poor person. And that's the belief of Chanukah. And that's the yesod of the emunah and Chanukah. That we have a share in the God of Israel. The greatness of Chanukah is not to publicize how HaKadosh Baruch Hu is great. We know He's great. It's to publicize how great we are. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us a chelik with Him. He makes us a partner in creation. And that's what we have to publicize, not only outside, more importantly, we have to publicize it to ourselves. We start in Chanukah, and this carries over throughout the rest of the year.